My name is Terry McDermott, and I am curator here at the Wilmington Town Museum at the Colonel Joshua Harnden Tavern at 430 Salem Street in Wilmington, Massachusetts. Today we are going to see some scenes from the museum. The Town Museum serves several purposes. It is a showcase for town history, featuring changing exhibits of various items of local interest. At the museum, the Wilmington Historical Commission presents educational lectures and programs throughout the year for the public. The museum is generally open for tours the first Sunday of the month from 2 to 4 p.m., and most of the year on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. During the summer season, the museum is open on Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for tours. Also during the summer, the museum features a lunch and games program on the back lawn, in which people are invited to picnic on the property and play old-fashioned outdoor games. It's especially fun for kids. The museum is housed in a very special building, the Colonel Joshua Harnden Tavern, a wonderful, well-preserved example of late 18th century house construction. Jessie Lynn Barry, a volunteer at the museum, will tell you more about this special building.
Judge Samuel Sewell was the original owner of the land that the Harnden Tavern resides on. He was one of the judges in the Salem witchcraft trials. He sold the land to Samuel Dunmar, who turned the lands over to a man named Jones, who built the house in 1770. The house was later purchased in July of 1773 by Joshua Harnden, the great-grandson of Richard Harnden, who was the first Englishman to settle in North Wilmington. The Harnden Tavern stands as the only example of late Georgian architecture in Wilmington. Many homes built in the earlier times were built facing the south or southeast so one could keep track of the time of day. The sun shines through the front door when it's midday. Here in the southeast parlor, or commonly known as the grog room, was utilized as a warm, friendly place for socialization for travelers. When Joshua Harnden became a selectman of Wilmington in 1793, the law obligated him to provide his home for boarding and food for travelers as they rested at night, along with caring for their livestock. The fire remained lit every day and night to act as a signal for passing travelers to view through the window, so they knew they had a place to rest. The building served as a tavern until Joshua Hardenden's death in 1807. Dr. Silas Brown and his family moved into the house in 1818, and his family remained here for 125 years. The fireplace scene was probably installed by Dr. Silas Brown around 1820. It is a Franklin fireplace, a forerunner to the Franklin stove. All paneling and molding are original, and there is a built-in cupboard with dish grooves, along with the original flooring and handmade iron nails. The furnishings seen throughout the house are donated by the Friends of Harnden Tavern. The Brown family sold the house to Dr. Charles Rounds in 1943, who was a dentist. After his death, the house was sold to a developer. The town acquired the house from demolition in June 25, 1973, when it was voted to take the property by the power of eminent domain for historic preservation. In the northeast room, or keeping room, would be the busiest room in the house. The cooking, spinning, weaving, and many other household activities such as soap and candle making would take place here. The house has a total of 6 fireplaces, and within this particular fireplace is a beehive oven. A beehive oven would be where the baking of bread would take place. Reaching over the fire to retrieve the baked goods was dangerous in itself, with the fear of burning one's arms and hands or an article of clothing coming too close to a flame. 18th and 19th century living was filled by daily chores that needed to be completed to run a functioning farm, along with providing for hungry travelers. Some interesting architectural changes that are made in this room that can only be seen when visiting the tavern. Be sure to ask where the original doorway once stood and where the room once ended before later additions were made. The southwest parlor has the finest Georgian paneling, doors, and molding in the house. This room would be used for special occasions such as funerals and weddings. The Georgian period was the duration between the 1760s through the 1790s. Over the fireplace there's a 30-inch panel. This is remarkable because before the Revolutionary War, any board wider than 24 inches was to go to the British Crown. And our display case holds a private collection of artifacts from the Brown family, and in the room we have the original medicine box of Dr. Silas Brown. The Harnden Tavern is home to the Arthur T. Bond exhibit and the Henny Penny exhibit. Be sure to stop by and discover the secret hideaway. Was it a stop on the Underground Railroad? You can be the judge of that when visiting the Colonel Joshua Harnden Tavern.
There's lots more to see at the Town Museum, with changing exhibits and special presentations throughout the year. Our address is 430 Salem Street in Wilmington, Massachusetts. Our phone number is 978-658-5475. Watch the newspaper for special announcements, call the museum, or check our website for further information. Part of the museum's mission is to preserve history as well as to exhibit it. If you have any special pieces, artifacts of Wilmington history or of agricultural history, things that you want to be preserved for future generations, please feel free to call the museum to arrange for a donation or even just a special temporary exhibit.